Welcome to our video on ml per hour problems. We will do this video like we typically do, where we walk through a problem together and then give you one to try on your own, and then give you time to complete it and review the answer. Before we begin though, there are two things that I would like to talk about, that it's why these problems are sometimes hard. Typically, if you understand these two things first before you start, then you can solve them much easier. The first thing is we don't usually include the dose in our problem. For example, if it tells us how many milligrams, grams, or micrograms the patient is receiving, we usually don't use those when we calculate. If you think about it, when we calculate mLs per hour, we're figuring out how fast a fluid is going on a pump. So how much medication is within our patient's IV bag doesn't really change our answer. So we don't include those numbers. The second thing that you need to know is there's a rule that we kind of factor in every time we solve anything with IV calculations, so drops per minute or mLs per hour. And that rule is always over or in, never every. So sometimes your problem is going to give you two different time frames, and you have to know which one to pick. The one that says over or in is the one we always select. The one that says every, we will not use. Okay, so now that we have those two things in mind, let's do a problem together. Again, just like any other math problem, don't worry about reading every word. Instead, just pull out what you're solving for and what numbers you need. In this case, we're solving for mLs per hour. Now, don't worry about putting the hour in right away. That's going to be our last step. Whatever is on the bottom, we'll get at the end. Instead, just focus on putting the unit that is on top first. So in this case, we need to put ml in our first box. Looking at the problem, I see that we have 100 milliliters. Now we need to put in its sister or its partner underneath. We've got a couple choices here. We could use the 500 milligrams, but remember, we don't usually include our dose in our problem. If you try to plug in the 500 milligrams, you won't be able to get rid of it using dimensional analysis. We don't have more milligrams or grams or micrograms, so there's no way we can convert or cancel it out. So we're not going to use our 500 milligrams in our problem. What else we could use is the every 8 hours or the over 45 minutes. If you remember your rule, it's always over or in and never every. So we will not use our 8 hours, and our partner in this case is going to be 45 minutes. Now that we have minutes on the bottom, we need to put minutes on the top in our top box so that those numbers can cancel. Looking at our problem, we do not have anything else with minutes in it. However, I do know I need to end up with 1 hour. And fortunately, we all know a conversion that changes minutes to hour. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So that's how we're going to finish this problem, 60 minutes on top and 1 hour on the bottom. Once we do that, our minutes cancel, and we end up with just milliliters over hour, which is what we're solving for. So that tells us we're ready to multiply. So we're going to take 100 times 60, which gives us 6,000. And then for the bottom, we have 45. And when we divide, we're going to get an answer of 133.3333 repeating. This problem asks us to round to the whole number, which means we're going to take the part in front of the decimal. That's where we want our number to end. Looking at our next door neighbor, it's a number 3. So that tells me that we're going to round down. So our final answer is 133 mLs per hour. Okay, now it is time for you to try. We're going to put this problem up on the screen. Go ahead and take some time to work it out, and then we will review the answer. All right, so let's go through how we would work this. Again, we're solving for mLs per hour. Don't worry about the hour on the bottom. Just focus on putting your ml unit in your first top box. The milliliter we have in our problem is 50. Now we need to figure out the partner or sister that goes with it. Again, we're not going to use our 250 milligrams. We do not need to use our dose for this calculation. If you tried to plug it in, you would get stuck because there's no way to cancel it out or put in another milligram, microgram, or gram. So instead, we can use either every 6 hours or over 30 minutes. Using our rule, always over, never every, we should select 30 minutes as our buddy. To get a final answer of ml per hour, I need to cancel out my minute and get my hour on the bottom. To do that, we're going to add our conversion again of 60 minutes over 1 hour. That causes our minutes to cancel, and we have ml and hour units left. So we're ready to multiply. When we multiply our top units, we get an answer of 3,000. And when we multiply our bottom units, we get an answer of 30. So 3,000 divided by 30 gives us an answer of 100 mLs per hour. It wants us to round to the whole number, and we're already there. So that's our final answer, 100 mLs per hour. Good job!